Ramon Tookes, real estate investor, developer, one of our advocates, associates.
Hey, Jay, where you get that three-piece suit from, man?
No, I got places. I got places. I know some people and some places. Real quick, so my name is Jay Morrison, CEO, founder and fund manager of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, and a brother to this man right here who can introduce himself, but he gave me a call the other day and said, everyone's asking about Tulsa. And so Ken, you want to just tell our audiences who you are and what you represent, and we can get to this dialogue.
Yeah, so I guess this afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Ramon Tooks, born and raised right here in Atlanta. Some of these corners we grew up on, and some of these corners we've purchased now. My brother, my friend, came and we've started to collaborate on some things, and then he came up with this amazing Tulsa Fund, and we support it 100%. But we've been getting calls on, do we support it, right? And I guess people don't understand it because I didn't understand it, right? Most of us didn't understand it. It's new, especially in our community. So I wanted to talk to you myself, one, and ask some questions. And I want to answer those questions that I've been asked, so we get them answered live. And they know, one, we do wholeheartedly 150% support. And, you know, one thing you'll know is my kids investing in it. We're gonna talk about that.
Right. Yep.
So,
actually, that was I was trying to post them on the way on Instagram here, and I fell asleep in that. But that's another story. But yeah, that's my next post. I was really proud to see that your children, not just your children, but them under their company, have bought shares and are founders in this Black Wall Street movement, in this real life Black Wall Street movement called the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
So I'll give everybody a little bit of breakdown. So. And Ramon and I met like 3 years, maybe 3+ years ago, when I was just visiting Atlanta, and he was telling us about what's happening in the West Side before everything was happening in the West Side. He gave everybody the forewarning. When the Beltline was coming, it was coming. And so at that time, I was just touring the country, empowering, and just so has it, I started my corner class tours. We did a corner class in Bankhead over by the Walmart and Busy Bees. And about 90 people came out on a street corner to learn real estate financial literacy, and I was like, man, this is the kind of energy we need. And looking at Atlanta, how progressively black it is, and how many black entrepreneurs there are, an opportunity here, my spirit really called me to move here. And one of our brothers, Beyond, he was with me. And we were actually sitting in Buckhead. I was dropping Beyond off at the Marriott in Buckhead. I had a drop-top vehicle, and the whole day I was trying to get an SUV. And I went to 5 different rental car spots, couldn't get an SUV. One of my J. Morrison Academy students was at Enterprise and was like, hey, I got a hookup for you on a drop-top. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll take it. The reason why a drop-top is important is because we're sitting in a drop-top, no top, top down. Beyond and I are sitting there after the corner class. He was there with me, and I was talking to him, and I said, hey, bro, I think my movement will do well here in Atlanta. The moment I said the word movement, he can co-sign and attest to this. The moment I said the word movement, somebody from across the parking lot, walking into the Marriott, said, Jay Morrison, that you, bro? I respect your movement. And so Beyond looked at me and said, you know what you gotta do, right? And so a month and a half later, I moved to Atlanta. And I was here, you were the first person I called that said, I'm in town now. And around that time, I still was in the development stages of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which for all intents and purposes is a regulated, SEC regulated, that's Security and Exchange Commission, right, which is a federal regulatory and compliance program. SEC regulated, Regulation A, Tier 2 real estate crowd fund. Crowd fund meaning allows everyone in the crowd, everyone, non-accredited investors and accredited investors, all to invest together, institutions as well, in order for us to acquire or lend money or be a private equity partner on real estate assets, where everybody's a shareholder, everybody's a partner. All investors get an 8% preferred return, their 50% share of the profits. But more importantly, we as a community have the first organized, sophisticated, transparent, trustworthy, and regulated economic vehicle for us to do all the things that we've been doing individually. We now can make everybody a part of this process of building wealth and acquiring our blocks.
So here's a question.
Sure.
Does preferred mean guaranteed?
Listen, Brett, that's one of the most profound questions.
Isn't it?
Preferred return means it's preferred, meaning it comes first before the 50-50 profit splits. Preferred is not a guaranteed return. Actually, it would be uncompliant. I wouldn't pass regulations, and would be in all intents and purposes illegal for me to be a fund manager of an SEC regulated fund and tell you I would guarantee. They would more than smack me on the wrist. So that's the great part about these regulations. And what we've seen, I talked about it last night, so many people who've never filed for SEC compliance, never actually even tried to establish a fund, have other knowledge base of entrepreneurship and other funding opportunities, so they think it's that, and so they're using their limited knowledge to talk about this specified knowledge and a specified regulation and saying, hey, that's not how it's done, but you haven't done the research because you haven't been where I've been or done what I've done. So in this space, there are no guarantees. As a fund manager, we have to, and that's with any private placement memorandum, we have to notify you of all the risk first. So when we say this is a heavy risk, you can lose all your money, this is a risky investment, it's not that I literally want to say that, it's that I have to say that. By compliance, I have to tell you that it's the most risky thing in the world, and beware. And so that's all part of SEC compliance. It's almost to scare the everyday investor away and make sure that they're truly ready for this investment opportunity. But there are no guarantees, but there is an 8% preferred return before our 50-50 profit split.
Before the fund makes any money,
Correct.
the investors get paid first.
Yes.
They get a
fund,
return.
I want to be very transparent. The fund gets a 5.5% management fee off the top, right? So that management fee covers the fund's operations to manage the company effectively, right? There would be no fund if there was no management, if there were no operations, if there were no marketing, if there were no auditing, if there was no treasury department, if there were no CPOs, if there were no CPAs, if there were no attorneys. All these things are needed in order to manage and run the fund, as well as the initial investment over the last 2.5 years of several staff members, including myself, to pour into creating this opportunity and making it a real thing. So the fund managers get a 5.5% management fee, but there are no profits on the deals split until the crowd gets at least an 8% return on their investment.
Okay. So let me break that down for us normal people, right?
Do it.
Normal. When you're investing, there's always a chance of losing.
Always.
But there's also a chance of winning.
True.
And so if you're looking for something where you don't have a chance of losing, you need to let us know what that is.
Right.
I mean, honestly, and I get people saying, what if we lose? But what if you put money in stocks and they go whatever?
What if your 401k goes bankrupt?
Right. So I want the people that are asking me those questions to understand there is a chance, right?
Sure.
But we're going to talk about why it's a very minimized chance, in my opinion.
I can't say that.
He can't say it. I can, right? And the reason why I say that is just because of how it's set up, the selection team and the projects that are going to be selected. But I want you to talk about that. How are you selecting, or how is the fund selecting properties? How are properties or projects or development? What makes us select the right one that we think is going to be the right one?
So outside of my 12 years of experience in real estate development, I've managed 2 mortgage companies. I've been a realtor from the streets of Newark, New Jersey, all the way to the richest town in America, Alpine, New Jersey, as a celebrity realtor, first African man in America hired by Prominent Properties, Sotheby's Realty. And so I use all my years of experience in building businesses and understanding real estate and prowess to make sure that we're vetting deals properly. But I'm smart enough to know I don't know everything. And so what we're doing is partnering with very talented, experienced folks like yourself, Chantel Owens, other developers, investors, and specialists throughout the country to do what they do best, and where Tulsa Fund could be a support system for our community, developers, and investors. I'm not looking to be the largest real estate developer in the country, not even on my top 10 of my aspiration list. My goal is to be the best fund manager, the best fiduciary and steward of this fund, and to be able to galvanize our people to have an economic vehicle, utilize it with integrity and responsibly, and give us something we never had. And then go to Ramon and say, all right, and we're building out this massive advisory team and advisory board. So Ramon's specialty is apartment buildings or flips. We want you to head and be the voice of reason on that. If Chantel can do tax liens, and we want her to spearhead the tax lien division. If there's someone, I just talked to David Anderson, who has some experience in hospitality and lodging and hotel space. We want you to do that. And if your niche is Atlanta, and we want to focus on your expertise for Atlanta. If you're in Detroit or Chicago or New Orleans or LA or Newark, New Jersey, and you have a resume and a track record and a heart and mind for the people, then we want to invite you in to be an expert an advisory board member or a vetting team member with us. And so we're going to use, we have an acquisitions team, we have an underwriting team, and we have a portfolio management team. All these things will help to protect our investment and make sure that, and I understand people's concerns with their investments. We have to all understand we all have investment in this. I myself, outside of being the manager, have invested $10,000 into the actual fund, right? Through the J. Morrison Academy. Our company's invested $10,000 into the fund. All the upfront risk of what we put to make this all happen. We didn't make this happen for it to fail or be irresponsible.
It didn't happen overnight.
Talking about over 2.5 years of research, development, time, treasure, and energy to pull all this together. And then my name's on it, right? My legacy's on it. I got, as you have children, I have 2 daughters and a wife to be in 39 days. I'm not out here to embarrass them and create a national movement for our family legacy to be tarnished. The goal is to do something historic and epic for our community so the Morrison family name makes the history books in a great way, not in a he did wrong by the people way. So we're gonna do everything in our power to be astute, to be responsible, to be wise. That's why I haven't announced any investments yet. We're taking our time. We've been vetting deals. We have MOUs on deals, and I want to make sure, knowing history, that we've had plans out there. They have been infiltrated at times, destroyed and burned down, like the Black Wall Street community of Tulsa, Oklahoma, that our fund is named after. So we want to be very strategic and wise. We'll play chess out here, not checkers, in how we choose our deals and partners.
Okay.
What's the other? What else you getting?
That was it. I mean, why and should I? Why should I invest though? Tell me. Why? I mean, because that's what I get. Now,
right.
I get that one.
So I say to everyone, if it's not in your budget or in your wheelhouse to invest, don't invest. But support, root us on, share it on your page, and most importantly, pray for our protection and our success. Don't, because you don't understand it or it's not for you, then minimize it or diminish it. We're talking about historically, from a historical context, there has never, ever, ever in the history of this country been a SEC-regulated real estate crowdfund that's 100% black owned, focused on the redevelopment of our community. It does not exist. We don't have one financial vehicle that we can point to as a collective that everyone can partake in and be partners in, and has a focus, because there's black banks out there. Will you ever try to get a loan from a black bank? All right then. So my point is, we have a vehicle for us and by us. And so what I'm saying is there's a historical context to it. And when I say you can invest if you want to, if you don't, there's no sales pitch. I don't want to say that someone said, oh man, you sold me. No, I'm not selling you. I'm just telling you we have a vehicle now that we haven't had before. You have an opportunity to participate in a vehicle and its success and park your dollars there. But the whys are, of course, the passive investment, the 8% preferred return, the 50% of the profits, the historical impact, revitalize our community, buying back our blocks, building black Wall Streets, and think about where your dollars are going anyway. Your money is parked somewhere. We all got money parked somewhere. It's in a bank or pension institution or self-directed IRA or in a shoebox or in a mattress or wherever it is, but where that money's parked, is it getting you, is it working for you well? And then the institution that it's in, do they have a care or concern for your community?
That's
and
the biggest part.
If you have your money parked somewhere, getting you 4, 5, 6%, wherever it's at, think about that company, that institution. They're taking your $80,000 of 401k, your $120,000, your $10,000 of CD money, your $5,000 of savings, or wherever your money's at. They're taking that money and they're going to invest it into the marketplace, redeveloping your community, gentrifying it, kicking you out, and they're giving you back 4%. And you're happy with that. But then your brother comes along with the vehicle that's owned by us for us, allowing you to get ownership in the vehicle, giving you back an 8% preferred return, and splitting the profits with you. And then you say, well, why should I do that? As we re-rise our community. But then you'll go take the same, mind you, in Tulsa, you must buy at least 10 shares. It's $50 per share. So that's a $500 investment, minimum investment to be an owner, right? And so we got to think about where we spend our money. The average person spends $2,600 a year on fast food. We won't invest $500 in Tulsa, but then go put $500 on our kids' feet. We will ask, well, why is Tulsa making this kind of money, or what's their business model? But we'll go buy a $100 pair of Nikes that cost $7 to make, but never ask Nike, why are you selling me $100 sneakers that cost $7 to make? or go buy an iPhone for $300 that costs $13 to make. So if we're going to be financially astute and so vigilant, let's be vigilant 360 on everything. Don't just question your brother when your brother presents something. Question all the institutions, question all the businesses in which we're throwing our money away. And so my point is, if you don't invest, totally fine, pray for us. That's the biggest part, because we're doing something historical and something that is a threat to society as we know it. And so, but if you do invest your 500, your 1,000, your 5,000, your 50,000, or if you don't not invest with your people, but then go spend it in Chinatown, or go spend it in Koreatown, or Little Italy, or Greek Town, or Little Mexico, or anywhere else where you can reinvest into their community being wealthier and wealthier, but you won't even pour into your community's revitalization and efforts to restore itself. So that's my why.
That's a great why. I like that why. So one more.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Can everybody invest?
Yes, great question. So
African Americans,
Asians, Caucasians, Europeans, international investors. This is not a racist fund. It's a fund focused on, instead of black people going to the White House saying, White House save us, instead of Africans in America, black people going to another fund or another nationality saying, hey, do for us. Help us build something like you got. Instead of us going to the Jewish community saying, hey, guys, give us a hand. It's not that. All we're saying is that we've been self-determined, self-accountable, self-reliant, and what black people, Africans in America, are saying, at least about 10,000 of us so far, are saying, look, we're going to put our monies in our own pot, controlled by us, created by us, for us, to do the good of us, but we want everyone who sees that we need the revitalization, that we haven't been repaired, we haven't been restored, there was no reparation, that we are doing something for ourselves without begging, without asking, and without looking for a handout. We have done what Dr. King said. They played a cruel joke on us, asked us to pull ourselves up out of the bootstraps, and we had no boots. So now we manufactured the boots, and we're pulling ourselves up by those boots, and so we open it up for international or other ethnicities or races to support us in these efforts to revitalize our neighborhoods, buy back our blocks, and to do for ourselves what no one should have to do for us.
All right.
Open book, open for everyone, TulsaRealEstateFund.com. So that's the key part. If you want to invest at some point, you can be a founder, and that means your name will, your daughter's companies and your children's company name will be on this Tulsa Tower or whatever we create. If you invest by June 19th, which is called Juneteenth, it's our Freedom Day. It's the last day of the emancipation of the enslaved Africans. If you invest by midnight June 19th, your name will go down in history on the monument, plaque, statue, and be memorialized at our first project. It'll also be memorialized on our website, which maybe is not as important, but you'll be there as well, listed as a founder, as an honorary founder, but you will be etched in history in stone at our first project for being a founder and investor by June 19th. If you invest after June 19th, you still will be a shareholder, you still will be a partner, you still will be an equity owner in the fund and its diverse portfolio that we'll be creating. But founders are by June 19th.
All right. That's it for my questions.
So I'm glad that the man thought enough of me to say, brother, let's tackle this. We can tackle it in private, but let's tackle it in public and let everyone see, one, our unity and solidarity. You asking me, and I'm always open to the tough questions. Full transparency. I mean, that was one of my key things with the fund, is we know we've given money to other institutions and leaders, and we've been giving money in collection plates and other places for years, but haven't had all the transparency that we need and deserve. So I always want to make sure this fund is very transparent. So when you do open your account, you have 24 access to see the fund activities, your future dividends, your investments. You have 24/7 access to that. There'll be yearly audits, there'll be financial reports, there'll be investor meetings, through teleconferences, quarterly and yearly meetings. And so we're doing everything possible to make it as a village-like and community-like feel, and as transparent and compliant and regulated as possible.
That's it for me.
Tulsa Talk, King J.
Yes, Thursdays. Every Thursday, you can call in. I don't have the number. It's on the Tulsa Real Estate Fund pages, Facebook, IG, YouTube, at Tulsa Real Estate Fund, or mine, at Mr. J. Morrison. We do a free conference call every Thursday for the Tulsa community. We call it TREF, or Tref Life. And so every Thursday, you can come on in for the conference call and ask your question and answers. It's hot out here.
Yeah, you know, so I'm satisfied.
Okay.
We've answered the question that I've been asked, but I wanted to ask and answer together.
Yes.
We're in it. I know my team has asked, and they're on board. And so, once I let my babies in,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap. So,
That's the
I'll be
legacy.
watching it. We've talked, we've vetted, I've listened, I've learned. It's the real deal. It's the real deal. So
Absolutely.
my question is, why not?
That's the question you got to ask yourself. Why not? Why
not?
wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't I?
Not
Yeah.
why should you? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to us knocking out these deals. That's the next phase. What we gonna invest in and get these doors up. So we're constantly vetting deals, and Ramon's he's been a part of our team in intimate meetings and helping us to establish some of our systems and some of our outreach and deal finding. And so for any of you all who have inventory, who have deals, you can submit deals at TulsaRealEstateFund.com, as well as open your investor account. And again, our goal is when Ramon come and say, hey, Jay, I got a hot one. We got 300 units that we can redevelop. He now doesn't have to cut through all the red tape of trying to put together a capital stack from multiple banks. He can have those private backroom discussions they've been having for years with his brother and say, what we got to do to make this happen. Here's the deal, let's vet it out. And now we have our own capital, own backing. So that's the part I'm looking forward to, getting to work.
Thank you, Jay.
I appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
Ken. Love you. Yeah.